be enough. It'll be huge. It will be enough. It is! Triple tension! Getting paid off! Wow!
Give him another hand!
Oh! Alex Fire grabbing it with the Ultra 2!
My!
On July 18th, Street Fighter 4 was released. And that's all that really needs to be said. Everything that could be said has been said. It was my first Street Fighter, as it was for probably many of you. I look at it with rose-tinted glasses as I was a child trying to do the most basic of moves with pad. Honestly, only a few games have united so many of us together, with the exception of DBFZ and hopefully Street Fighter 6. Now, with the success of anything, there's bound to be a weird extension of it, either in copies or in a lesser version of the game. Mobile gaming isn't anything new, but it's definitely come a long way. I mean, there's always a drive for companies to get every single person involved in their product. I mean, how many weird mobile game ads have you seen with Call of Duty Mobile or Street Fighter and countless others? Advertising is very important, especially in this day and age, but what's more important than that is quality. While Street Fighter 4 was of great quality and every iteration just making it better and better with more characters, the clones of Street Fighter 4 were kind of weird, especially the 3DS version, where it was pretty decent for actually being a port to a 3DS, especially it being Street Fighter, and the fact that you could just touch the buttons on the screen and do a special move. That's kind of interesting. I feel like the 3DS version has been covered a lot, but the one version that I have never seen anyone talk about is the mobile game version of Street Fighter 4. Now, being sold for $10, it's actually not that bad of a deal, but the whole package in and of itself is pretty interesting when you just look at it. For one, it's a mobile game that requires you to do motion inputs. Now, it's not the first of its kind to do that. There's the KOF 13, I believe, mobile game port that, it's the same thing, but it's not really that makes it weird. It's more or less the fact of how everything goes together. In an interview, Takashi Tezuka, general manager of the mobile content at the time of this article that I found, tells that the mobile version of Street Fighter 4 is mostly for boomers. When designing Street Fighter 4 for iPhone, Tezuka claims that the main target audience is people in their mid-30s, people who are used to Street Fighter 2. Which I think it's really interesting that he made this comment, and we look at the interview with the Street Fighter 6 devs about Street Fighter 5, and they were talking about how their view is to make Street Fighter 6 more like Street Fighter 2. It's very interesting to hear from people in Capcom how they just view Street Fighter 2 as like the pinnacle, that's the goal, that's what we should be aiming for, as opposed to everyone else that really claims Street Fighter 3 Third Strike is the pinnacle of Street Fighter. It's just really interesting to look at that little detail. A version for iOS was released on March 10th, 2010, and an Android version was launched initially as an exclusive for just LG devices. So as you can see the base roster of the Street Fighter 4 mobile game and the Street Fighter 4 Ultimate Edition at the end of its lifespan, and obviously there's less characters in the mobile game version, but it is a surprising amount of characters that you get for this mobile game for just $10. Every character has 2 alternate costumes, and it has all of their moves, that you can check on a move list. You just got to do the motion inputs to do it. The only thing that I will say that's really awkward is using your ultra meter. You got to press it or at least do the motion input, but doing the motion input was so ridiculous. I was like, I'd rather just press the button, but at times the button just didn't, register. But even in online matches, it was funny to see that just waking up and doing your special move still works very well.
Hey there, everybody. This is Ryu from Streets.
Another weird thing that is I find kind of interesting is that whenever you do your special moves, or whenever it has like the cutscene for the move, it's like you're teleported into the abyss. You're just in this black hole of nothingness, and it's just your move. Obviously, limitations of the phone, but it's still funny to look at. Another interesting thing is that the game has kind of been boiled down to just kick, punch, focus attack, and special move. There's only like 4 options you can do with your motion inputs and whatnot, and it's kind of interesting because I kind of look at it with hindsight as to that's the simple input that Capcom's trying to put for Street Fighter 6 to let people get in, and honestly for a mobile game I think it's the only answer. You know, I can only imagine having just a bunch of options for like medium and heavy and all that. Another cool detail that I like is that all the stages have the same backdrop, even though it's not animated or something cool, but it's still there. It's still Street Fighter 4, just brought to your phone. I tried checking out the single player content, which is pretty much just a training mode and then an arcade mode, which runs about 20 minutes longer. So I just picked Ryu and decided to play the whole thing, and it was actually a surprising bit of fun. You know, the CPUs try to give you a challenge. At least at the end, they really do start to be a little cracked out, and Bison was kind of just staring at me. But then when I got to the secret boss Akuma, it was like a very night and day difference. Akuma was just cracked, and it was like good luck fighting this player. But it was pretty fun all around. Connecting to an online match was actually pretty easy if you're just connected to Wi-Fi, and although there's still some lag and there's still embarrassingly long loading times, but it's what you gotta give for a mobile game port. You know, you gotta give it some credit, and honestly it's pretty responsive when it comes to online play too. Even on a mobile game, Wake Up DP is still the strongest and best option. I hope you enjoyed the video. Honestly, it was pretty interesting to look into this mobile game port for Street Fighter 4. I hope that Capcom follows up and maybe does a Street Fighter 6 either companion app or maybe even Street Fighter 6 for the mobile. That'd be pretty insane, especially with like how decent, you know, Call of Duty mobile looks, and how, you know, for a port it's pretty decent for Street Fighter 4. I think it's worth $10 at least, you know. And who knows, maybe you might become like cracked at it and become amazing and be an online warrior for that too. Here's my Twitch. Please subscribe, like, comment, all them things. And I'll see you in the next one.